Hey, what's going on, guys, girls, everyone? Welcome to the RathCo's gaming channel and the RathCo Corporation for this new show, RathCo's Amazing People. In today's episode, we'll be talking about Mr. Mike Marcum. Mr. Marcum was dubbed a madman due to his interest in a simplistic electrical device known as a Jacob's Ladder, which can be seen here. Now, Michael's story begins in the town of Stanburn, Missouri, if I'm saying that right, where he had been studying electrical engineering as a career choice. Now, he ended up building several inventions that he wanted to eventually get patented, which he made from household electronics. Well, one day, back in 1995, he was messing around with a simplistic electrical device known as a Jacob's Ladder. And basically, the principle of a Jacob's Ladder is it uses a transformer to send electrons up one wire, and electrons have a need or desire to separate from each other. So what happens is the electrons jump from one wire to the next wire right next to it, as you can see in the photo. And the electrons heat up the air. As this happens, the spark slowly moves up the two wires until it reaches the top. And once it reaches the top, it dissipates and starts over at the bottom. So, because that happens and it dissipates, Mr. Marcum used a modified compact disc laser to cool the air down, thus allowing the reaction to constantly continue and remain at the top. And when he did this, he claims that, and I believe him, he claims that a heat mirage-looking type of vortex appeared. So his first reaction was to toss a metal screw into it. He watched the screw vanish right before his eyes, and 4 or 5 seconds later, he heard the screw drop a few meters away from where the experiment took place. Amazed by this, he repeated it a whole bunch of times, and his confidence grew, and he started using small animals, things of that nature. And as described in the WeirdRenown episode of Mike Madman Marcum, as the internet dubbed him, Heather explains this more in detail. She does a much better job of explaining it. So if you like this video, check out my description for this video to catch her link, as well as the Unexplained Mysteries link, which is another video that I received research data from to make this one. So shortly after that, Marcum realized that in order to scale up his experiment to make a Jacob's Ladder big enough for larger things to go into to continue his research, he figured out that he would need a lot more electricity. So he traveled to a couple of different electronic stores and lost a lot of confidence when he discovered that in order to generate the electricity he would need to do this experiment, he would need to spend around $20,000 US for the powerful transformers he would need. Because of this, he probably felt pretty discouraged, pretty defeated. After a while, he came across a power station in King City, Missouri. I think it's Missouri. I know that it's King City. As I said, Heather at WeirdRenown does a better job. But anyways, he scouts out the area, checks it out, and decides that he's going to try to sneak in there and borrow, whatever you want to call it, a series of transformers. So he ends up doing this. He finds 6 transformers that weigh 300 pounds apiece, and somehow he gets them back to his house. He makes I think his mistake was connecting them to the house's power, but actually he probably figured that he would just blow the circuits. However, he got everything connected, he got ready to jump into the device, and power went out. He caused a citywide brownout, which is much different than a blackout. Anyways, a brownout, which destroyed several $1,000s of electronic equipment in many houses. And no one knew who it was. There was a altercation at Mr. Marcum's house. Again, check out WeirdRenown's episode for more info on this. Long story short, his roommate was arrested, and because Marcum gave the police information on his roommate told them about the experiment, and the arresting officer went and found the Transformers, bada boom, bada bing. He was arrested. Only did 60 days in jail. And when he got out, he started getting funding. He started getting people that heard about his time travel idea and the experience and everything. He started getting funding, and eventually he did complete his experiment. He ended up teleporting himself 800 miles away. I think he ended up in Youngsford, Ohio, or Youngstown, or Youngsford. And it was no longer 1998, it was the year 2000. So, as far as we know, he was successful. And my personal take on this is that I believe that a lot of what happened is probably covered up, and we will more than likely never know the full story. I really do. My name is Robert Rath, as you all know, and I really have a desire to contact Mr. Marcum, because I do not think he's a madman. I think he's a fucking genius. Excuse my language, but I believe him to be a genius. I do not know why so many people choose so quickly to be so closed-minded and foolish enough to believe that time travel is impossible just because it's portrayed in Hollywood movies. By the way, Mr. Marcum does say, he has said in interviews, by the way, if you want to hear the full interviews, go to the link for Heather's WeirdRenown in the description, because she has links available for the interviews between Marcum and Art Bell from Coast to Coast Radio. Which, by the way, Art Bell tried to convince Marcum not to do the project and told him that he was going to, quote, turn himself into a human popsicle, or a human lightning bolt, whatever you want to call it. Charcoal briquette, I would say. But anywho, Art Bell attempted to convince Mr. Marcum not to do the experiment out of the danger, and Marcum said, supposedly, and I quote, he believed that the Jacob's Ladder was nothing more than the beanstalk from the Jack and the Beanstalk story. Which he was probably being sarcastic, because again, I do not believe this man to be mentally unstable or insane. However, like I said, I've never met him. I've never personally spoken with him. But I'm hoping that by creating this video on RathCo's Amazing People, because I do believe that Mr. Mike Marcum is an amazing person and always will be, I am hoping that I can use this video to reach out to Mr. Marcum in an attempt to get him to contact me, because I have so many questions, and I'm doing research of my own into his Jacob's Ladder experiment, and I'm trying to determine if there is a safer method of doing so, because Mr. Marcum claims that he suffers from amnesia now and neurological issues from time to time, and I would also like to speak to him about that. I'm not a physician, I'm not a doctor, nothing like that. I just find Mr. Marcum an incredibly and extremely interesting person, and I would really like to find out as much as I can about this great man. If I can meet him, that would be great. I hope you've all enjoyed this episode, this pilot episode of RathCo's Amazing People. This one is just audio and photos for the most part. Future episodes will probably include video clips and whatnot. As I said, I'm under budget constraints right now and still searching for employment. But, well, in closing, thank you all so much for watching. As I said like 30 times in this video, please make sure you visit the links in the description below so that you can see where my sources of research originated from. Thank you all so much for watching. You guys are fucking awesome. You guys rule. Without you guys, there would be no reason for me to do any of this stuff. Please like and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the awesome, amazing content from Mr. Rob Rath, the furry. Anyway, like I said, thanks. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode, and I'll see you all on the flip side. Hasta luego.